Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, January 6th, 2017, the WNW 267. I want to talk about the Russian hacking or lack of Russian hacking. I think the headline I pulled off of Zero Hedge pretty much says it all. Zero Hedge says Russian hacking story changes again. This is Zero Hedge from 1/5/17, and basically what they're saying now is, a third party source gave all these emails to Julian Assange at WikiLeaks. All of them third party source, as if Assange doesn't know or wouldn't ask, hey, where'd you get these emails? Oh, well, I got them from the Russians. Come on. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks has a sterling 100% record of putting out authentic emails. There have been allegations that the emails in the past have been, including the last batch from Podesta and other DNC people, saying that, well, we're not sure they're even, they're authentic emails. Well, the hacking charges now authenticate all these emails. And John Podesta's password that Assange said even a 14-year-old could have hacked into it because his password was password. And what this is about is, and Donald Trump knows this is going on, and he can't trust his intelligence agencies. And here we have another headline. Donald Trump plans to revamp top U.S. spy agency. We're talking about the Director of National Intelligence. And here is Donald Trump announcing former Senator Dan Coats as the Director of National Intelligence. Now, you know that if he put former Senator Coats, who was also on the foreign intelligence committees and all the intelligence committees in the Senate when he was a senator from Indiana, when he talked to him that he says, now you're not down with this Russian hacking, and Coats probably, no, that didn't happen. These were leaks. Of course, he's not going to stick a guy in at the head of the Director of National Intelligence that's going to sit there and lie to him as James Clapper. Remember this? Fire James Clapper. That was the headline. This is from Slate. Slate.com, Slate Magazine. Director of National Intelligence lied to Congress about NSA surveillance. What else will he lie about? That's a Slate, June of 2013. What else will he lie about? How about Russian hacking? I mean, this is the ultra-liberal Slate Magazine headline, Fire James Clapper, in June of 2013, and now all the ultra-left-wing liberals say, oh no, the Russians did it, he affected the outcome of the election. And so Donald Trump is questioning the spy agencies and why not James Clapper committed perjury in Congress and lied about, data collection and spying on him. He lied, period, the unproven fact. And then if you talk about some of the other lies that are official to Congress and why Donald Trump would be questioning the agencies, look no further than this little ditty from 2014. Remember this? CIA lied to Congress, White House, and Britain over brutal global torture programs, says U.S. Senate report. Officially, report from the Senate, this is the Telegraph in December of 2014, that the CIA lied and it was officialized in a Senate report. So you're wondering why, and then you have people like Chuck Schumer saying, how dare you question the spy agencies? They can hit back at you 6 ways from Sunday. You mean we're supposed to accept they're lying? I mean, the agencies don't work for us, we work for them, and they're supposed to thought shape us into thinking stuff that's not true and that might start a world war? And we're talking about the expelling of Russian diplomats and seizing property. And of course, Putin didn't take the bait. Now, do I think the Russians commit espionage against the United States? Yes. Do I think they're our buddies? Not really. Do I think they affected the voters in the Rust Belt states and made them, vote, for Donald Trump instead of Hillary Clinton? Like in Wisconsin and Michigan, despite all the cheating that was revealed, thank you, Jill Stein, and Pennsylvania. Do you think that Donald Trump winning all those states was because of Russian hacking? No. If you're going to expel diplomats and seize property, you better have a good case, not just the spy agency saying, well, it's so because we say so. And in the hearings that they had in the Senate, they didn't really still give any proof that the Russians actually hacked. And so, what are they doing? What kind of thought shaping are they doing? Let's read this. This is on Hannity. Way to go, Hannity, getting a big interview with Assange at a face-to-face. Our source is not the Russian government, and I suspect it is not. A third-party source that got it from the Russian government. And let me just read this to you. And Hannity says, can you say to people unequivocally that you did not get this information about the DNC? John Podesta's emails. He is the chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign. And can you tell the American people 1,000% that you did not get it from Russia or anybody associated with Russia? That's a third party. Which they're now saying, oh, it's a third party, which the story changed. Why didn't they come out immediately and say that? And if it was such a big deal, why didn't they stop it? Instead of coming out after the election. Well, here we go. Let's read along here. Yes, we can say, we have said repeatedly that over the last 2 months that our sources is not the Russian government and it's not a state party. Obama is trying, here it is, trying to say that President-elect Trump is not a legitimate president. Let's breathe that in. Here's the whole thought-shaping ploy. Obama is trying, according to Assange, Obama is trying to say that President-elect Trump is not a legitimate president. And this is a dangerous game people are playing when you start expelling Russian diplomats on a bogus story. Now, listen, if Russia did some terrible steal state secrets or do something and you can prove, yes, you should protect the nation and you should crack down on them, but not a phony, fake BS story that is totally bogus and is contrived by the so-called intelligence agencies. That's why he's replacing top people. That's why Donald Trump is replacing these people with people he can trust. And I'll bet you the head of the guy replacing Clapper, Coates, the former senator from Indiana, agrees with Trump. And then we have this story, and this is from a president that's going out in a few weeks. We have, U.S. sends special forces to Russian border as NATO is poised to strike back against Vladimir Putin's aggression. And listen to this, Russia is reported by who is what I want to know, deploying nuke-ready missiles to its province in Kaliningrad that borders with Lithuania. I can't believe that Russia is going to take the bait and try to start a regional or world war with the United States, and Obama is taking actions like this. I can't believe he's going to take the bait. He didn't have any response for the expulsion of his 35 diplomats and the seizing of property. He just went, we're just going to wait. And I can't imagine he's going to take the bait on this. It seems like Obama is trying to start a war. Thus, I have this cartoon about Obama and his quote-unquote parting shots. I mean, this is unprecedented in history. I mean, sending troops to borders with nuclear-armed countries, making resolutions with Israel. And he's got a big meeting, about a week before he leaves office, and then we find out, in Paris between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and then we find out this headline that says Palestinians reject John Kerry's two-state solution. How do you think that meeting in Paris is going to go? I believe it's on the 15th of January. Not too well when both sides hate each other. And they come in with this kind of action, this UN resolution, which Kerry says, well, they didn't draft it. They didn't draft it. But it was their idea. I think they're lying. And, they don't veto this. It's just before a president leaves office. And why did you take this on a few years ago? But no. And I think it's just to create chaos and to destabilize and try to make Donald Trump fail as a president, which means America will fail. This is evil. Obama is all about him. And so I think it's absolutely unbelievable. Now, there's a lot of people that say that the elite are going to blame any collapse on Donald Trump. And we may get a collapse beforehand. I do have Bill Holter on from jsmindset.com, and he says, this is going to be the year of truth bombs, and one of the big truth bombs is going to be that, this hologram of an economy is going to go poof. Now, is Trump going to try to bring it back? Yes. Is he going to be successful? I sure hope so. But he still has a huge overhang of debt that's been grown and grown, particularly by the last two presidents, Obama and even in Bush 43. He grew the debt too. So Congress and Democrats and Republicans all on the hook for all this debt. But the fact remains we have all this debt. And, Obama and Holter, just one of the snippets is, the next president, and that's going to be Trump, he's going to be basically overseeing a bankruptcy. You'll watch early Sunday release. Things are going to get hinky, and it may get pretty hinky before Obama leaves office, but they're not going to be able to blame Trump, at least not without a fight. And thus, I just wanted to bring up this little headline here. And this is, Rand Paul introduces a bill to audit the Fed, says it has Trump's support. So they may try to blame Donald Trump, but he's going to blame the Federal Reserve after all. Remember what he's talked about, the Federal Reserve blowing bubbles? And they did, and they have. Remember, all the stuff talked about. Richard Fisher, former head of the Dallas Fed, admitted on CNBC at the beginning of this year that, we injected cocaine and heroin into the system. We front-loaded the system to create a wealth effect. Totally manufactured a rally. They blew a bubble. And so, Donald Trump is going to blame the Fed on this, which that's where the blame, he's a private citizen, folks. He's a private citizen until January 20th. How can he come into office and the whole thing collapse and, it's all his fault? That ain't going to happen, folks. He's getting powerful people around him, and he's going to fight back. He's not going to just lay there. He's not. The Washington Post, the people that had the original fake news story that they had to retract as a fake news story, comes up with another fake news story. Washington Post admits it's a Russian hacked a U.S. utility story. It was a fake. Yeah, the Russians didn't hack the utility up in the Northeast. Total fake. Another fake news story by the purveyors of fake news. The Washington Post, the legacy media, the mainstream media. And then I thought this was just funny. Here we have the AP doing a story, states reviewing cybersecurity after latest hack. Oh, they're doing a story about the reaction to a fake news story. This is the Associated Press. This is the Associated Press. I mean, did they not check this out? States reviewing cybersecurity after latest hack, a Russian hack. Yeah, a fake news story about the outcome of a fake news story. Associated Press. Yay, yeah, you're the real media. Yeah, you're not the fake news. I wonder, I got a couple of schools of thought here about this, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but to me, it looks like a contraindicator. Megyn Kelly leaving Fox News for NBC. A contraindicator of the mainstream press, and much, Fox News would like to say that they're not the mainstream media. They are. But to me, I would just wonder if the mainstream media is peaking. Also, news, Greta Van Susteren is going to go to MSNBC. Now, either the whole thing is peaking, or, as I've been saying, that these media organizations are willing to destroy their business model by lying to you and thought-shaping to you, and then bringing on Megyn Kelly, who won't be total, lefty left-wing. I think she's a Trump hater, and I think NBC likes that about her. But Greta Van Susteren, I like her, and she's not a Trump hater. And she's going to go to MSNBC. Their ratings they don't have any. They're expensive operations. They got big fat contracts with people. It's costly. I mean, here I have a board and $150 camera, and I'm got the same access to the internet as they do. They got to compete against people like me. They got to compete against people like Zero Hedge and Breitbart and Infowars, who are going to try to tell you the truth. And so them having a Greta Van Susteren on, and them having, are they struggling? Have they peaked? I mean, Megyn Kelly going to NBC, her career's peaked, boom, done, over, I think. I know she's getting paid a lot of money and whatever, and a lot more than I make, but I'm just telling you, I think that's a contrary indicator. And I think it also shows you how that the mainstream legacy media, NBC, MSNBC, struggling so bad, they're willing to change their business model, at least some. Because Megyn Kelly's not going to change, and Greta Van Susteren is not going to come there and do some left-wing wackadoodle show. She's not going to do it. And so, they're fighting for survival, I think. And finally, my last but not least story about how, all these bankers commit tons of crime and never go to jail. Well, guess what? John Corzine, who was at MF Global, Settles over MF Global, agrees to a lifetime ban. He's 70, and a $5 million fine. I mean, this is where, the word hypothecation, they pledged funds of the people that put money with them. They were a primary dealer of treasuries. This is no small deal. There's only 22 banks in the world that deal, I think 22, that are primary dealers of treasury bills, America's debt. So that's a big deal. And they folded, they went under, which is the problem with brokerages in general. You might have a great stock, and you might have great gold stocks or Amazon or whatever great high-flying stock, and it's really worthless to you if that brokerage, turns into MF Global. But for this, for him, a $5 million fine is a slap on the wrist and a lifetime ban. He's 70. Again, what he did, I think, was criminal. I think he stole money. But, no big bankers ever go to jail. Thank you for supporting USA Watchdog with your comments and donations. That helps us out. And remember to, as we start 2017, folks, don't let them get to you. Don't let them thought shape you. Don't let them create fear and paralyze you. Fear not. God the Father is in charge. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, and above all, spiritually. Fear not. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.